Hey there, you look
Close your
good.
eyes for a second and think about the last time a video game made you feel something real. Not excitement,
Niko, are you some
not
kind of
adrenaline,
gangster?
something quieter than that.
Had enough of this bullshit? I
Something
can solve
that
my mic on
sat
the
in
way
your
home.
chest like a stone you couldn't swallow. Maybe it was a character dying. Maybe it was a betrayal you didn't see coming. Maybe, and this is the one nobody talks about, maybe it was loneliness. The kind of loneliness that lives inside a crowded room.
Niko, you want to
The
meet
kind
up?
where you
think
have
you're a great
money,
guy,
power,
but I don't wanna hang
guns,
out again so soon.
cars,
Another time?
a
Sorry
whole
to hear
empire
that.
built out
Maybe
of
I'll call
blood
another
and
time.
gasoline. And none of it matters, because the one person you wanted is gone. That feeling has been hiding inside Grand Theft Auto for over 25 years, buried under all the noise, waiting for someone to notice. We don't think of GTA as a love story. Nobody does. We think of it as explosions and police chases, and stealing helicopters at 3 in the morning because we're bored and the game says we can. And yeah, all of that is there, obviously, but underneath the chaos, buried like a heartbeat beneath concrete, there's something else. Relationships, girlfriends, wives who stopped loving their husbands years ago. Hookups that meant nothing and breakups that meant everything. Strip clubs that glowed with neon and smelled like cheap perfume and broken promises. Nightclubs where the bass hit so hard you could feel it in your teeth. Where strangers danced in the dark, pretending they weren't lonely. And then, scattered between the gunfire and the car chases, these quiet moments, rare, fragile, almost invisible, where a criminal looked at another human being and thought, maybe this time it'll be different. It never was, but they kept trying. Every single one of them kept trying. Today, we're telling the whole story. Not the highlights, not the summary, the whole thing. Every girlfriend in GTA history. Every betrayal, every awkward date, every scandal that made the evening news. We're going all the way back to the very beginning, to the gunshot that started it all. And we're going all the way forward to GTA 6 and the couple that might finally break the curse, or prove that the curse was never breakable in the first place. This is going to take a while. Get comfortable, pour something, because the story of love in Grand Theft Auto is a lot longer, a lot darker, and a lot more human than you think. Let's begin. The year is 2001. The world still has that strange late 90s energy clinging to it, like cigarette smoke in a bar that hasn't opened its windows in years. The PlayStation 2 is the hottest thing on the planet. Broadband internet is still a luxury. Most people are playing games that look like finger paintings compared to what's coming. And then a company called Rockstar drops Grand Theft Auto 3, and the whole medium cracks open like an egg. GTA 3 wasn't just a game. It was a dare, a massive, three-dimensional city you could wander through freely, stealing cars, starting fights, taking jobs from criminals and psychopaths, building an empire one stolen vehicle at a time. Nothing like it had existed at that scale before. It changed gaming, storytelling, open worlds, the entire idea of what a video game was allowed to be. But buried in all that freedom and chaos was something most people overlooked. A love story, The worst love story ever told. The game opens in the dark. You can almost taste the grit in the air. Cold concrete, wet asphalt, the metallic tang of a night that's about to go very wrong. Two people are robbing a bank. A man and a woman. Partners. You get the sense they've done this before. Many times. There's a rhythm to the way they move. A familiarity that only comes from shared risk. They know each other's steps. They trust each other. Or at least one of them does. The man is Claude. That's you. You don't know his name yet. The game barely tells you, and he certainly doesn't tell you himself. But that's who you are. Silent, expressionless, a blank face behind a leather jacket. No backstory, no voice, just a pair of hands and a willingness to do whatever it takes.
Come on, Niko, play
The
fair.
woman is Catalina. She's the opposite of blank. She's electric, dangerous in a way that crackles and spits like a downed power line. The kind of person who laughs too loud and holds a gun too casually and makes you nervous even when she's smiling. Especially when she's smiling. You can feel that she's the one in charge of this relationship, even if the game never says it out loud. Claude follows her lead. He trusts her. He probably loves her, though the game will never use that word. They get the money. The job is done. Everything went according to plan. And then Catalina turns. She looks at Claude, and the look on her face isn't love. It isn't even hate. It's something colder than both. It's a calculation. She's been doing math in her head, weighing what Claude is worth against what he costs, and the numbers don't add up anymore. Maybe they never did. She shoots him, point blank, close enough to see his eyes when it happens,
Nice one, Niko.
leaves him bleeding on the floor of that bank, while she walks away with the money and a new partner. A man who was apparently waiting in the wings the whole time. Catalina doesn't look back, doesn't hesitate, doesn't flinch. She steps over Claude's body like it's furniture and disappears into the night. The very first love story in Grand Theft Auto history ends with a bullet to the chest. Remember that. It's going to matter later. But Claude survives. Barely. He gets arrested, convicted, tossed into the back of a prison transport like a bag of garbage, headed for the dump. The city of Liberty reclaims him, chews him up, processes him, spits him into the system. And when that transport crashes on a bridge, when an explosion rips the vehicle apart, and Claude stumbles out into the rain-soaked streets, bleeding, disoriented, free, a new story begins. Except it's not really a new story. It's the same story, wearing different clothes. Every mission Claude takes from that point forward, every gang he joins, every building he shoots up, and every car he steals, and every body he leaves cooling on the pavement in the rain. All of it, every single piece, is pushing him toward one thing. One person. Catalina. Claude never speaks. Not one word in the entire game. No monologues about revenge. No angry rants into the mirror. No whispered confessions at 2 a.m. when the apartment is dark and the city hums outside the window. He's the quietest protagonist in GTA history, and somehow, because of that silence, not despite it, he's also the most devoted. He tears Liberty City apart brick by brick, works his way up through every criminal organization in the boroughs, and he does it all without ever saying why. He doesn't have to. You can feel the betrayal radiating off him like heat from pavement in July. It's in everything he does. Every bullet is a love letter written in brass. The game takes its time. Hours and hours of missions. New allies, new enemies, new neighborhoods that smell like different kinds of trouble. Claude works for the mafia,
Niko, you win!
then the Yakuza, then whoever else will point him in the right direction. He's patient in the way. Only someone with nothing left to lose can be patient. Because what's time to a man whose entire purpose has been reduced to a single point on a map? When they finally meet again, Catalina has climbed the ranks. She's with the Colombian cartel now. She's powerful, protected. She's built her own empire on the foundation of Claude's broken body. And she's been thriving ever since. The final confrontation isn't a conversation. It isn't a reckoning or a tearful reunion or a dramatic speech about what they meant to each other. It's a helicopter battle on top of a dam, wind screaming across the concrete, rotors chopping the air into noise. Claude fires a rocket launcher. The helicopter lurches, trails smoke, spirals. Catalina falls. The water below swallows her whole.
Can I come in?
No last words,
I like you.
no dramatic pause,
But I hope you
no
don't
music swell,
tell.
just gravity doing what gravity does. And that's it. That's the first love story GTA ever told. Trust the wrong person, lose everything. Spend the rest of your life turning pain into power.
Oh, great!
And when you finally
Please,
get your revenge,
more. Tell me more.
it doesn't fill the hole.
Oh, tell me interesting.
It just makes it quieter.
That girl's
Rockstar's
a
message
good listener.
was as subtle as a car wreck. Love is a weapon, and the person you sleep next to is the one most likely to pull the trigger.
Not so easy. People will wait
Hold onto that idea. Tattoo it on the inside of your brain. Because every single relationship in GTA history is a variation of that same theme. Every single one. The settings change. The characters change. The music gets better and the graphics get sharper. But the lesson stays the same. Game after game after game. For 25 years. Until maybe it doesn't. But we'll get there. First, we need to go somewhere warm. 2002. We're leaving the gray, rain-choked streets of Liberty City behind
Okay, who
and
is
stepping into something completely different.
fuck you?
Feel it shift. The air gets thick and humid. The kind of heat that sticks to your skin like a second shirt. Palm trees swaying against a sky that's cotton candy pink and burning orange. The distant thump of an 80s synth bass line. Maybe Jan Hammer, maybe Flock of Seagulls. Maybe that one Hall and Oates track you forgot you loved, pulsing from the open window of a white Testarossa. Everything smells like salt water and sunscreen and cocaine money. Welcome to Vice City. GTA 5 City doesn't have a real dating system. You can't take anyone to dinner. You can't build a relationship meter or earn a goodnight kiss or stress about whether your outfit is right for a date. But it has something almost more interesting than any of that. A woman who exists entirely on her own terms in a world that was built to be controlled by the player. Her name is Mercedes Cortez. She's the daughter of Colonel Cortez, a powerful military figure, and one of Tommy Vercetti's most important allies. Mercedes is beautiful in a way that makes rooms go quiet when she walks in. She's confident in the way only people born into power can be confident. It's not earned, it's inherited, and she wears it like a second skin. She moves through Vice City's world of cocaine and corruption like she's untouchable. Because, in a very real way, she is. Her father has warships. Nobody messes with Mercedes. Tommy can't have her. That's the thing. That's the whole thing. In a game where you can buy mansions and car dealerships and businesses and a literal media empire, Mercedes Cortez is the one thing that isn't for sale. She flirts with Tommy sometimes when she's bored, when it amuses her, shows up at his parties uninvited, and leaves before he can get comfortable, crosses his path in ways that feel deliberate, like she's reminding him she exists just to prove he can't do anything about it. But she's never his. She dates a rock band called Love Fist. She's seen at clubs with other men, different men always. She does whatever she wants, whenever she wants. And Tommy, for all his power, for all his money, for all the blood drying on his Hawaiian shirt, just has to watch. Mercedes is GTA's first untouchable woman, the one who won't be owned, in a game designed entirely around control. Controlling cars, controlling territory, controlling the entire criminal underworld of a fake Miami. She's the exception that proves the rule. She's smoke between your fingers. Try to close your fist, and she's already gone. Now, Vice City might not have had girlfriends, but it had nightlife. And the nightlife hit different. Tommy could walk into the Malibu Club, and you could practically hear the ice clinking in highball glasses, the murmur of conversations happening behind dark sunglasses, even though it's indoors. The sudden blast of a new wave track as the DJ made the switch. The dance floor was neon and chrome, and people moving in ways that said, "I have money, and I don't care who knows it." It was glamorous and seedy at the same time, the way a silk suit looks amazing, until you notice the stain on the cuff, exactly like the real Miami in 1986. And then there was the Pole Position Club, Vice City's strip club. It became one of the most talked about locations in the game. Not because of anything shocking that happened inside, but because of how Rockstar turned the whole thing into a deadpan joke. Tommy could walk in, sit in the back room, and spend money watching dancers perform. If he spent exactly $300, the game counted it as a completed asset mission. He literally beat a level by sitting in a strip club spending cash. Nothing else. Just spending. It was absurd. It was Rockstar winking at the camera so hard their eye almost fell out. And players loved it because it said something true about the world Vice City was parodying. In this economy, everything is a transaction, even entertainment, even desire. even the illusion of intimacy. Vice City was also the game that turned street prostitution into a visible gameplay mechanic. Players could pull up alongside a woman standing on a sidewalk, usually on a particular stretch of road in certain neighborhoods, honk the horn, and she'd get in. Drive somewhere dark and quiet, a back alley behind a warehouse, a parking garage with no attendant, a stretch of empty coastal road where the only witnesses were seagulls, and the car would start rocking. Health went up, money went down, a simple mechanical exchange. And then when it was over, you had a choice. You could drive away and let her go about her night, or you could do something terrible. You could hurt her and take the money back. This is the part that made America lose its collective mind. News anchors with perfectly styled hair and serious expressions sat behind mahogany desks and told parents that Grand Theft Auto was teaching their children to do terrible things to women. Politicians in suits held press conferences on Capitol steps. Advocacy groups demanded action, boycotts, legislation. It became a national conversation, the kind that generates a lot of heat and almost no light. What none of those people mentioned, the game never told you to do it. There was no prompt, no reward, no mission objective, no achievement unlocked, no character who said, "Hey, you should go do this." It was simply possible. The world of GTA operated on a brutal, amoral kind of freedom. The same freedom that let you obey traffic laws and drive carefully if you wanted to, or ram a bus off a bridge if you didn't. You could do anything, and the game would let you live with the consequences. What you chose to do said nothing about the game. It said everything about you. That idea is important. Keep it close, because GTA's relationship with its own controversial content is one of the strangest stories in all of gaming. And we're about to hit the part where it exploded in a way nobody saw coming. 2004, San Andreas, and everything, every single thing about how GTA handles relationships, romance, dating, and intimacy is about to change so dramatically that we're still talking about it 2 decades later. Imagine the map opening up beneath you like a quilt being unfolded across a king-sized bed. Not just one city anymore, 3 of them, connected by highways and back roads and dirt trails through wilderness. Los Santos, a sprawling concrete jungle inspired by Los Angeles. All palm-lined boulevards and gang graffiti, and the distant wail of police sirens bouncing between buildings that shimmer in the smog. San Fierro, hilly and fog-wrapped. San Francisco's twin in everything but name, where the streets tilt at angles that make your knees ache just thinking about them. And Las Venturas, blazing with light out in the desert like a mirage that somehow turned out to be real. A neon cathedral to gambling and excess, and bad decisions made at 4 in the morning. And crossing this entire map, on foot, on bike, in a lowrider with the hydraulics bouncing to a West Coast beat that rattles the trunk, is Carl Johnson. Siege, a young black man from Grove Street in Los Santos who left home years ago and just came back for the worst possible reason. His mother was murdered, shot in a drive-by. The funeral is over before the game begins, but the grief hangs in the air like smoke that won't clear. CJ came home to bury his mom and got pulled right back into the life he thought he'd escaped. The gangs, the territory wars, the suffocating gravity of a neighborhood that doesn't let people leave. CJ is charming in a way no GTA protagonist had been before. He's got a warmth to him, a quick laugh, a way of talking to people that makes them want to help him even when they shouldn't. He's also deeply conflicted, torn between the loyalty he owes to Grove Street and the ambition that keeps whispering in his ear about bigger things. And for the first time in the entire series, this man, this gang member, this fugitive, this walking contradiction, can date. Really date. Not just watch a woman walk away. Not just get shot by one. Actually take someone to dinner. Pick the right restaurant. Wear the right clothes. Say the right things. And build a relationship. 6 women. 6 completely different personalities. 6 different parts of the map. Each with her own favorite food. Her own favorite date activity. Her own body type preference for CJ. Her own idea of romance. Each with a relationship meter that rises when you treat her well and drops when you neglect her. Show up wearing the wrong clothes or take her somewhere she hates. Forget to call. The meter drops. Show up fat when she likes you thin. Drops. Take her to a fancy restaurant when she'd rather eat fast food in the car. Believe it or not, drops. This was brand new. Nothing like it had existed in GTA before. This was Rockstar saying, "We built you a criminal empire spanning 3 cities. Now figure out your love life. Good luck. Let's meet them all, one by one, because each one tells a different story about who CJ is and who he's trying to become." The first is Denise Robinson. CJ meets her during a mission called Burning Desire. And that name isn't just clever, it's literal. The building she's trapped in is on fire. Actual, raging, structural fire. Flames climbing the walls in orange curtains. Smoke pouring out of broken windows in thick black columns. The whole building groaning and creaking like it's begging someone to put it out of its misery. CJ runs inside. The heat hits him like opening an oven door with your face too close. Visibility is garbage. Every breath tastes like ash. He finds Denise on an upper floor, grabs her, gets out just before a section of ceiling collapses in a shower of sparks and plaster dust. She's grateful, more than grateful. She's into him. You can hear it in her voice, that shift from terror to relief to interest, all in the space of about 30 seconds. They start dating. Denise is Grove Street through and through. She's the neighborhood. If the block had a personality, it would be Denise. She likes fast food, not the sit-down kind, the drive-through kind, eaten in the car with the windows down and the radio on, paper wrappers everywhere. She likes dancing at the local club, bass shaking the floor so hard you can feel it in your molars, bodies moving in the dark. the air thick with sweat and cologne. And she likes drive-bys, actual, honest-to-God, roll down the window and start shooting drive-bys. Take Denise on a date, and she'll lean out the car window, laughing, genuinely laughing. Like this is the most fun she's had all week, firing rounds into rival territory, while CJ floors the gas pedal through a red light. That's her romance. That's her love language, gunpowder and loyalty, and the screech of tires on warm asphalt. Denise represents the life CJ already knows. The streets, the code, the fierce, dangerous warmth of belonging to something that might kill you. But as CJ's world expands, as he moves beyond Los Santos into new cities and new ambitions and new versions of himself, Denise stays exactly where she is. On the block, in the neighborhood, same corner, same club, same drive-bys. Never growing, never changing, never following him into the wider world. She's the girl you love when you're 17, when your whole universe fits inside 6 square blocks, and when you're 25 and your map has gotten bigger. You realize you grew in different directions, and the distance between you isn't measured in miles. It's measured in who you became while you were apart. Then there's Helena Wankstein, and she's about as far from Grove Street as you can get without leaving the state. Helena is a lawyer who lives in the countryside near Flint County. She wears overalls and a cowboy hat. She hangs out at the shooting range and the country bar, places where the air smells like sawdust and cheap beer and hay, where someone's always got a country song on the jukebox, and nobody locks their doors at night. The sky out here is enormous. You can see the stars. The silence has a weight to it that's completely alien to someone from Los Santos. Helena has preferences, specific ones. She likes CJ thin, not muscular, not bulky, not swole thin. And in San Andreas, that mattered, because CJ's body actually changed based on what you did with him. Hit the gym every day, and he'd bulk up, muscles stacking on muscles, until he looked like he could bench press a sedan. Eat a bunch of fast food, and skip the workouts, and he'd gain weight. His gut expanding visibly, his movement getting a little slower. Stop eating entirely, and he'd slim down to almost nothing, ribs showing, face gaunt. Each girlfriend had a body type she preferred, and if you wanted Helena's approval, you had to literally reshape CJ's body to match her taste. Dating Helena means becoming someone else, shedding the baggy clothes and the gang colors and the bass-heavy playlists, driving out to the country where the roads are empty, and the only sound is crickets and wind through dry grass and the crunch of gravel under tires. It's CJ trying to escape his own story, trying to be someone quieter, simpler, less haunted by the sound of his mother's name. It never sticks, because you can change your body and change your clothes and change your zip code, but the story follows you. It always follows you. The phone rings. The old crew needs something, and CJ drives back to the city with dust on his shoes and the country getting smaller in the rearview mirror. Katie Jean is next, and she's something else entirely. She hangs out near the hospital in San Fierro, which makes perfect sense because she's a paramedic. She's calm in the way people who deal with death every day are calm. Not cold, not disconnected, but settled. Like she's seen the worst thing that can happen to a human body. And she's filed it away in a drawer in her mind, labeled Tuesday. She doesn't flinch easily. She doesn't shock. Katie has a dark streak, a quiet fascination with the morbid that surfaces in conversation if you pay attention. But the reason players loved her, really loved her, in a way that transcended the game's dating mechanics, had nothing to do with her personality. It was her reward. Date Katie successfully, keep her meter high. And when CJ dies in the game, he wakes up at the hospital with all his weapons and all his money intact. Normally, death costs you. You lose your guns. You lose cash. You respawn at the hospital with nothing but your fists and your regret. With Katie, none of that happens. Death loses its teeth. Sit with that for a second. The best thing about dating Katie Jean is that dying hurts less. Her love is a safety net made of hospital sheets, and the faint smell of antiseptic, and the hum of fluorescent lights at 3 in the morning. She can't stop you from getting killed. She can't change the world that's trying to kill you, but she can make sure you don't lose everything when it happens. She can be there when you wake up, and she can hand you back your guns, and she can send you out the door knowing that at least this one thing, this one woman, has your back. There's something accidentally beautiful about that, and something deeply, deeply dark. Michelle can lives in San Fierro too, but her world isn't hospitals and heartbreak. It's engines and axle grease, and the satisfying clunk of a wrench, finding the right bolt at exactly the right angle. Michelle is a mechanic. Her garage is her sanctuary, the one place where everything makes sense, where problems have solutions and parts fit together, and broken things get fixed. Date her and she'll give CJ free car resprays, new paint, new look. Cops can't recognize the vehicle. She'll also keep his ride from getting impounded. Michelle is the girlfriend who asks nothing of you except that you show up. No drama, no body type requirements, no weird demands about where to eat or what to wear. She just wants company, someone to talk to while she works, someone to hand her the right socket wrench, and not complain about the grease on their hands afterward. In a game full of gang wars, casino heists, and territorial bloodshed, Michelle is a glass of cold water on a hot day. She's normal, refreshingly, almost shockingly normal. And in a world populated by gangsters and corrupt cops and psychopaths and government agents, normal is the rarest thing you can find. Now, Barbara Sternvart. I love Barbara, not because she's the best girlfriend in the game, she's not, but because she's the funniest. And in a game that's often genuinely hilarious in ways people forget. Barbara is the joke that keeps on giving. Barbara is a police officer. She works in El Quebrados, a tiny desert town in the middle of absolutely nowhere. The kind of place where tumbleweeds have more social life than the residents, where the post office closes at noon because there's nothing to deliver, where the biggest excitement in a given week is a coyote wandering too close to the gas station. CJ has to drive for ages to get there, through dust and heat haze, and miles of empty road that shimmer like water in the distance, past rock formations and scrub brush, and the occasional abandoned gas station, with sun-bleached signs advertising things that haven't been sold in decades. You see the comedy, right? CJ is a gang member, a car thief, a man who has committed enough crimes to fill a filing cabinet the size of a refrigerator. And he's dating a cop, taking her to dinner at the one restaurant in town, bringing her flowers from God knows where there's no florist in El Quebrados, kissing her goodnight on her porch while the desert wind blows sand across the steps. And she presumably goes back inside and files reports about the exact kind of person she just had dinner with. Barbara's reward is perfect. Comedy gold disguised as a game mechanic. If CJ gets arrested, he keeps all his weapons and money. His cop girlfriend makes some calls, pulls some strings. The charges evaporate. It's corruption as a relationship perk. It's GTA satire at its sharpest. The system doesn't work. The rules don't apply. And the person enforcing the law is literally sleeping with the person breaking it. The whole criminal justice system reduced to pillow talk and favors. And the fact that CJ has to drive all the way out to the desert to visit her. That's the cherry on top. He's going to the ends of the earth, literally crossing empty wasteland, burning gas, eating up hours, just to maintain a relationship that protects him from consequences. There's a whole philosophy in there about how far people will go to avoid accountability. Finally, there's Millie Perkins. And Millie is different from all the others, not because of who she is, not because of her personality or her preferences, or where she lives, because of why CJ dates her. Millie works at Caligula's casino in Las Venturas, the biggest casino in the city. Bright lights, ringing slot machines, the smell of free drinks and desperation. Millie has a key card that accesses restricted areas of the building, and CJ needs that key card to pull off the biggest heist of the game. The mission that the entire Las Venturas arc has been building toward. So he dates her, not because he likes her, not because he's attracted to her, not because she's interesting or funny or kind, because she has something he wants. Every compliment is calculated. Every dinner is a transaction, dressed up in candlelight. Every time CJ smiles at Millie and tells her she looks nice, there's a cold little voice in the back of his head counting down the days until she trusts him enough to hand over that card. He takes her to restaurants she likes. He wears clothes she approves of. He laughs at things that aren't funny and agrees with opinions he doesn't hold. He performs the role of devoted boyfriend with the precision of a con artist. And the game gives you a choice that will sit in your stomach like a rock. You can keep dating Millie, keep up the act, keep playing the part, keep being patient and calculating and fake. And eventually, she'll give you the key card willingly. She'll trust you she'll think it's real. Or you can kill her, walk into her house while she's home alone, end her life, take the card off her body. Both options complete the mission. Both move the story forward. Both get you into the casino. The game doesn't punish you either way. There's no karma system, no pop-up that says you made the wrong choice, no consequence at all. And that absence of punishment is the punishment. Rockstar looked the player dead in the eyes and said, "She's a person or she's an obstacle. You decide." And whatever you decided, seduction or murder, patience or violence, you had to sit with it. You had to know what kind of player you were, what kind of person you were willing to be when the game gave you permission. Millie Perkins is one of the most uncomfortable moments in GTA relationship history. Not because of violence, the game has plenty of that. Not because of controversy, we'll get to that next. Because of the quiet, calculating cruelty of using someone's trust as a tool and then discarding them when the job is done. Because it's not dramatic, it's mundane, and mundane cruelty is always worse than the spectacular kind. Now, we need to stop and talk about something that changed everything. Not just for GTA, not just for Rockstar, for the entire video game industry. The rating system, the relationship between games and government, and the way America thinks about what's acceptable in interactive entertainment. Hot coffee, hidden in the code of San Andreas, buried deep, walled off, inaccessible through any normal means of gameplay, was a minigame, an interactive scene between CJ and his girlfriends, behind closed doors. In the bedroom, it was explicit, it was detailed, it was animated, and it was never, ever, under any circumstances, supposed to be found by players. The developers had built it during production, decided against including it, and rather than deleting it entirely, which would have been the smart move, they simply locked the door and left the code sitting there like a sealed room in a haunted house. But modders on PC found it. Of course they did. They dug through the game's files like archaeologists, sifting through digital rubble, found the locked content, and built a tool to unlock it. They called it the Hot Coffee mod. They uploaded it. People downloaded it. And the world caught fire. The backlash was biblical in scale. The game's rating was yanked from M for mature to AO for adults only. A designation that was essentially a death sentence for retail sales, since most major stores refused to stock yo-rated games. Copies were pulled from shelves. Politicians held congressional hearings. Hillary Clinton stood at a podium and called it an example of the worst of America's culture. Lawsuits rained down on Rockstar like artillery fire. Millions of copies were recalled from retailers worldwide. The company had to release a sanitized version, a whole new pressing of the disc, with the offending content surgically removed from the code. It was, at the time, the biggest scandal in the history of video games. Full stop. Nothing else came close. This is the part that still makes my head spin. San Andreas already had murder. Mass murder, wholesale, industrial scale, unimaginable violence. CJ could mow down dozens of pedestrians with a machine gun on a Tuesday afternoon and be back at the safe house for dinner. He could throw Molotov cocktails into crowds. He could blow up police cars and shoot down helicopters and leave a trail of destruction that would make an actual war zone look tidy. He could commit acts of violence so extreme, so gratuitous, so cartoonishly over the top that they defied any attempt at a serious moral objection. Nobody blinked. M for mature. Move along. But an intimate scene between two consenting adults, behind a closed door, in a locked minigame that was never supposed to be accessible. That's what crossed the line. That's what brought the government knocking. That's what nearly destroyed a billion-dollar franchise. Hot coffee revealed something uncomfortable about the culture we live in. We are infinitely more threatened by intimacy than by violence. A game can let you do terrible things to hundreds of people, and it's entertainment. It's rated M and it's fine, and your kids probably shouldn't play it, but whatever. The moment it suggests that two characters might be intimate with each other, that two people in a relationship might actually act like people in a relationship. Emergency, congressional hearing, national crisis. That paradox has never been resolved. It's still there. It still shapes how games are made and rated and sold and talked about. And it says more about us, about our priorities, our fears, about what we're really afraid of, than it does about Grand Theft Auto. Let's leave San Andreas. Leave the sunshine and the lowriders and the 6 girlfriends and the scandal behind. Because where we're going next is cold. It's gray. It's raining. And it hurts in ways that the earlier games never bothered to try. 2008, Grand Theft Auto 4, Liberty City. If San Andreas was a 3-day party in a house with no rules, GTA 4 is the hangover. The one where you wake up on a floor you don't recognize, and the light hurts, and there's a taste in your mouth like pennies and regret. The colors are muted, grays and browns, and the sickly yellow of streetlights reflecting off wet pavement. The sky is permanently overcast, like the city itself is depressed. The buildings press in from all sides, close and claustrophobic, and you can practically feel the damp creeping up through cracked sidewalks into your bones. The chill that never quite goes away. The exhaustion of a city that never sleeps because it can't afford to stop moving. Because if it stops, it'll realize how tired it is. And in the middle of all of it, stepping off a cargo ship with one duffel bag and a head full of lies he was told by someone he loved, is Niko Bellic. Niko is not like any GTA protagonist who came before him. He's not cool. He's not funny. He doesn't swagger or crack jokes or live the high life with a grin on his face. Niko is a war veteran from Eastern Europe. The game is deliberately vague about exactly which country, which war, which atrocities. But the weight of it hangs on him like a wet coat. He's seen things, real things things with blood and screaming, and the kind of silence that comes after that's worse than the screaming ever was. Something inside him shattered during that war, and the pieces were never put back together. They just rattle around inside him now, cutting him in places nobody can see. His cousin Roman sent him emails. Long, ridiculous, wildly exaggerated emails, full of exclamation points and promises about life in America. Mansions, Roman said. Sports cars. Women everywhere. Beautiful women. Just walking around waiting for guys like them. The American dream in all its glossy, impossible, infomercial glory. So Niko got on a cargo ship, spent weeks in the rust-stinking belly of a freighter, breathing recycled air that tasted like metal and diesel, sleeping on a cot that was more springs than mattress, and crossed an ocean to start over, to find something worth living for, or maybe just to find Roman. What he found was a lie. Roman lives in a cockroach-infested apartment above a cab depot in the worst part of the city. He owes money to everyone, loan sharks, bookies, guys whose names he can't even remember. The apartment smells like mildew and takeout containers. There are no mansions. The sports cars belong to other people, richer people, luckier people, people who were born on this side of the ocean. And the beautiful women, well, that's where our story gets complicated and painful. Niko's first girlfriend is Michelle. She seems nice, genuinely, disarmingly nice, which in GTA is immediately suspicious if you've been paying attention. She's a little nervous, a little awkward. She fidgets with her sleeves when she talks and laughs a beat too late at Niko's dry jokes. The way people do when they're trying hard, and they know they're trying hard. She suggests simple dates, bowling at the alley down the street, greasy spoon diners where the coffee is bad, but the portions are huge, walks along the waterfront where the city lights reflect in harbor water that's almost certainly toxic. And for a few hours of gameplay, it's almost sweet, almost tender, in the middle of all this violence and corruption and gray misery. Niko has found a little pocket of normal, a woman who doesn't want anything from him except his company. They go bowling, and Niko is terrible at it, and Michelle laughs, and it doesn't feel mean. They eat burgers and talk about nothing. They sit in the car after a date, and the rain runs down the windows like the city is crying around them. And neither of them says anything, and somehow the silence is comfortable. It feels like something that might grow, something that might heal him. Then the truth detonates like a car bomb. Michelle's real name is Karen. She's an undercover government agent, a handler working for a shadowy federal organization. She's been working Niko from day one, from the very first bowling date. Every question about his past was an interrogation technique she learned in training. Every smile was practiced, rehearsed, calibrated for maximum trust extraction. Every moment of vulnerability Niko showed her was cataloged and filed in a report that someone in a suit read at a desk in a building Niko will never see. When she finally reveals herself, drops the act like a mask falling to the floor, straightens her spine, looks at Niko with eyes that are suddenly hard and professional and completely unrecognizable. The moment is devastating, not because it's dramatic, because it's quiet. Niko doesn't scream, doesn't throw a chair through a window. He just looks at her with this expression, this terrible, exhausted expression that says, "Of course. Of course you were lying. Everyone lies. The whole world is made of lies. And I should have known that. And the fact that I didn't, the fact that I let myself hope, that's my fault." And if you go back and replay those early dates, knowing what you know now, you'll hear it. Every conversation Michelle had was a fishing expedition. She was always steering the talk toward Niko's connections, his background, who he worked for, what he was planning. The clues were scattered like broken glass across every date, and we walked right through them barefoot, without even looking down. Michelle Karen, whatever name you use for a woman who exists at the intersection of two identities, she's one of the best-written characters in GTA history. Not because she's likable, because she's a trap that felt like a gift, and she poisons everything that comes after her. Because once you know Niko's first relationship was a surveillance operation, every future relationship carries an asterisk. A whisper, a quiet voice in the back of your mind asking, "But what if this one's fake too?" Then there's Kate McCreary. This is where GTA 4 reaches into your chest and squeezes until you can't breathe. Kate is from the McCreary family. Irish-American, Catholic, deep, deep in the criminal underworld. So deep they can't see daylight anymore. Her brothers are gangsters. Every one of them, Packy, Derek, Francis, Gerald. And they do terrible things for terrible reasons. And come home to a house that probably smells like whiskey and guilt. And the kind of silence that descends when everyone in the family knows too much about what everyone else has done. But nobody will ever say it out loud. Kate is different. She goes to church, not as a habit, not as performance. She actually believes. She doesn't drink, which in the McCreary family is like refusing to breathe the air. She won't sleep with Niko, not on the first date, not on the 10th, not ever, no matter what he does or says or buys or promises. She holds herself apart from the filth that surrounds her family, like she's standing on the only dry patch of ground in a flood that's rising. Dating Kate is frustrating in a game mechanics sense. She turns down most activities Niko suggests. Her approval meter moves like it's stuck in mud. She doesn't give Niko any gameplay perks. No health boosts, no wanted level reductions, no free weapons, nothing. She is, from a purely strategic perspective, completely useless. That's the whole idea. Kate isn't a prize to be won. She isn't a reward for good behavior or a power-up in a dress. She's a window. She shows Niko what a life he'll never have looks like from the outside. A quiet life, a clean life, dinner at a kitchen table with a cloth on it, mass on Sunday morning, children who don't know what a gun sounds like when it goes off in a small room. She's standing in the warm light of a normal life, and Niko is standing in the rain outside the window, pressing his hand against the glass. knowing the door is locked, and he lost the key somewhere in Eastern Europe years ago. The heartbreak comes at the end. GTA 4 gives you a choice in the final mission. Two paths, deal or revenge. It's one of the most agonizing decisions in gaming because neither option is good. Neither option is survivable. Not really. You're not choosing between a good ending and a bad ending. You're choosing between two different kinds of devastation. If you choose deal, Niko makes a pragmatic, ugly bargain with a man he despises. He takes the money, he swallows his pride, and at his cousin Roman's wedding, a day that was supposed to be about joy, about new beginnings, about the tiny possibility that maybe things were going to be okay after all. Kate gets shot. A hitman's bullet. She dies right there, in a church, while confetti from the celebration is still in her hair. She dies because of Niko's choice, because of a button the player pressed. She wasn't in the wrong place at the wrong time. She was murdered by the consequences of a compromise she didn't even know about. A deal made in a room she was never in, by a man she was trying to save. If you choose revenge, Roman dies instead. Niko's cousin, the man who brought him to America, the man who lied about the mansions, but loved Niko anyway, in his messy, desperate, over-caffeinated way. Roman, who bowled with Niko and drove taxis with him, and never once let him feel alone in a city designed to make everyone feel alone. Two endings, both devastating. No way to save everyone. No trick, no cheat code, no hidden third option. No walkthrough that will save you from the guilt. Just loss. Just the cold mathematics of a world where someone always pays for someone else's choices. And the bill always comes due at the worst possible moment. Kate McReary is the only girlfriend in GTA history whose death is a direct consequence of the player pressing a button. Not a random shootout, not a failed mission, a moral choice, a narrative decision that you made, sitting on your couch, holding a controller, thinking you were just playing a game. And that makes her death feel less like a plot point, and more like a weight you carry after you put the controller down and stare at the ceiling and wonder if you chose wrong. GTA 4 also introduced internet dating, and this is where the game's satirical teeth get really sharp. Through a fake website called LoveMeet, complete with terrible profile photos and cringeworthy bios that sound exactly like real dating profiles, which is the whole joke. Niko could set up dates with 3 women who each represent a different modern relationship nightmare. Carmen Ortiz was the party girl. Everything about her screamed nightlife. The clothes, the attitude, the way she talked about clubs the way monks talk about monasteries, with reverence and devotion, and the unshakable belief that this is where God lives. She was fun for about 30 minutes, and then exhausting forever after, like a song you love, until it becomes your alarm tone. And then you never want to hear it again for the rest of your life. Her gameplay reward was a phone call that partially restored Niko's health, which felt appropriate. She was a temporary fix. A painkiller, not a cure. Relief that wore off by morning. Kiki Jenkins was the jealous one, and she was a masterpiece of satirical writing. Kiki was a lawyer. Smart, successful, absolutely, completely, overwhelmingly possessive, in a way that made your phone feel like a surveillance device. She called Niko constantly, left voicemails that started sweet, "Hey baby, just thinking about you," and ended threatening, "I know what you're doing. I know who she is. Call me back." If Niko went on dates with other women, Kiki found out. She always found out. She got angry in the focused, articulate way that only lawyers get angry, which is terrifying. But her reward was the best of the three. She could clear Niko's wanted level with a phone call. One call and the stars disappeared, and the cops forgot you existed. The most controlling girlfriend in the game was also the most useful. And there's a metaphor in there so obvious, it practically introduces itself at parties. Alex Chilton was the blogger. You couldn't date her in the traditional sense. No bowling, no diners, no awkward car rides. Instead, she documented Niko's life on a website called Blog Snobs. Whatever he did, whatever crimes he committed, whatever clothes he wore, whatever neighborhood he was spotted in, Alex wrote about it online for strangers to read. She turned his private life into public content without asking, without permission, without even particularly caring whether he wanted to be documented. In 2008, that was a joke, a punchline about oversharing and narcissism, and the way the internet was turning everyone into a broadcaster. In 2026, that's just a normal Tuesday. Alex Chilton wasn't satire. She was prophecy. Before we leave the GTA 4 era, we need to talk about the ballad of Gay Tony. This was a DLC expansion, a separate story set in the same city, overlapping with Niko's story at certain points. And it changed one massive thing about how GTA handled relationships. It introduced hookup culture. You play as Luis Lopez, the business partner and bodyguard of Tony Prince, a legendary nightclub owner. Tony is flamboyant, chaotic, addicted to substances and drama in roughly equal measure. He spends money he doesn't have. He trusts people he shouldn't. He falls apart regularly and puts himself back together with scotch tape and bravado. And his relationship with Luis, platonic, but raw and real in a way most GTA romances never are, is maybe the most complex relationship in the entire GTA 4 universe. They argue like a married couple, loud, personal, hitting each other's weak spots with the accuracy of people who know exactly where the bruises are. They protect each other like brothers. They need each other in ways neither of them fully understands or would ever admit out loud. But the hookup side of things is where the DLC breaks new ground. Luis manages nightclubs, Maisonette 9, with its velvet ropes and thumping house music, and the smell of expensive cologne mixing with spilled champagne on marble floors. Hercules, louder and wilder, where the crowd pushes against you like a tide. These places are alive. You can practically feel the floor vibrating through the soles of your shoes,
Nobody's business.
the strobe lights cutting through darkness in rhythmic slashes, the heat of too many bodies generating their own climate in too small a space.
Easy.
And in these clubs, Lewis meets women. He dances with them,
Not so.
buys them
For
drinks
one, I won't have
that
to
cost
listen to
more
you
than a
talk.
meal, takes them home in the back of a taxi, with the city lights blurring past the windows. And in the morning, nothing, no phone call, no relationship meter ticking up or down, no follow-up date or awkward. So what are we? Conversation over coffee. It was a one-night stand, and the game presented it as exactly that: brief, mutual, and disposable. Not every connection is a love story. Some are just a night, a few hours of closeness between strangers who go back to being strangers
Where we going?
before the sun comes up. You barely remember it by Wednesday. This was GTA growing up, admitting that human connection comes in 100 different shapes, that there's a vast middle ground between dating 6 women simultaneously and falling in love with a woman who might die at your cousin's wedding. Sometimes people meet in a noisy room, feel something electric and temporary, share a cab home, and go their separate ways without exchanging last names. And that's its own kind of story, even if it's only one chapter long. Now we jump to 2013, and if the history of GTA relationships were a song, this would be the key change. The moment the melody drops into a minor chord and stays there. GTA 5, Los Santos, 3 protagonists, 3 broken stories, and a deliberate, calculated decision to strip away everything we'd learned to expect about how this series handles relationships. There is no girlfriend system in GTA 5, no dating mechanics, no relationship meters, no press X to hold hands. After the elaborate dating simulation of San Andreas and the gut-punch romances of GTA 4, Rockstar looked at all of it and said, "No, not this time." And the reason is written into the characters themselves. These 3 men are too broken for love, each in his own way, each for his own reasons, each standing knee-deep in the rubble of relationships that failed in completely different ways. Michael DeSanta is the one who had it all. He lives in a mansion in the Vinewood Hills, the GTA version of Beverly Hills. The house is enormous and cold in a way that has nothing to do with temperature. Pool in the back that nobody swims in. Expensive cars in the driveway that nobody drives. A wife, 2 kids. On paper, Michael DeSanta is living the American dream so hard it should have its own zip code. In reality, Michael is drowning. His wife is Amanda, and their marriage isn't failing, it has failed. Past tense, years ago. What's left now isn't even a relationship. It's 2 people trapped in the same wreckage, picking through the debris for something worth saving and coming up empty every time they look. Amanda is sleeping with her tennis coach and her yoga instructor, and probably others Michael doesn't know about and might not even care about anymore. She spends his money vengefully, like every purchase is a small act of war. She's angry in a way that's calcified, not hot rage, but cold resentment. The kind that settles into your bones like arthritis and never fully leaves. The kind that turns good morning into an accusation and pass the salt into a declaration of hostilities. Most players miss this part. Amanda isn't the villain. She married a bank robber who got tired of robbing banks, or got scared, or got caught, or got offered a deal, and faked his own death. He moved their entire family across the country without asking anyone's opinion, built their whole life on a lie, so big it has a swimming pool. Amanda is trapped in a house she didn't choose, in a city she didn't pick, married to a man who loves the thrill of crime more than he loves her. And she knows it. And he knows she knows it. And they both know the other knows. And nobody says anything because what would be the point? Her affairs aren't just betrayal. They're SOS signals, escape attempts, the only power she has left in a marriage where every other choice was made for her. Michael goes to the Vanilla Unicorn Strip Club. A lot. He gets private dances, sits in the dim glow of neon, music pulsing like a headache, watching women perform with the detached gaze of a man who isn't really seeing what's in front of him. He's looking through it, looking for something behind it. He can flirt with the dancers, take them home, spend money and time chasing something that looks like connection, but tastes like cardboard. None of it makes him happy. That's the quiet tragedy of Michael DeSanta. He achieved the American dream, and it poisoned him. He has everything, and it amounts to nothing. He goes to a strip club, not because he wants pleasure, but because he wants to feel something other than the thick, suffocating numbness of a life that looks perfect from the outside and feels like a tomb from within. Trevor Phillips is the opposite of Michael in almost every way, and somehow he's worse off. Much worse. Trevor doesn't date. Trevor doesn't do anything gently. He moves through the world like a wildfire, consuming everything in his path, leaving ash, not caring what he destroys, because destruction is the only language he speaks fluently, the only thing he's ever been good at, the only thing that consistently makes sense. His relationships with people aren't relationships. They're collisions, car wrecks that happen in slow motion and keep happening. His sexuality is ambiguous in ways the game never fully explains and never tries to. He makes comments about men and women both. He has encounters that resist easy labels. Trevor exists outside the neat boxes that most characters fit into, and the game lets him stay there, undefined, unsettled, dangerously free in a way that makes everyone around him nervous. But then there's Patricia Madrazo, and Patricia is where Trevor breaks every expectation you have about him. Patricia is the wife of Martin Madrazo, a cartel boss with a temper and a lot of guns. During a mission gone sideways, Trevor kidnaps her, just grabs her, and takes her back to his trailer in the desert. A meth-stinking, garbage-strewn, barely standing monument to bad decisions and worse hygiene. The kind of home where you wipe your feet on the way out. And something changes in him. You can hear it, feel it, the manic energy that normally buzzes through Trevor like live current. That constant hum of barely contained violence drops down to something quieter, something almost gentle. He cooks for Patricia. Not well, probably, but he tries. He talks to her, really talks, not screaming or threatening or ranting. Conversations about feelings, about loneliness. He treats her with a tenderness that's genuinely shocking coming from a man who, earlier that same day, might have literally bitten someone. Patricia, for her part, seems to enjoy it, or at least accept it. Maybe it's real affection, the kind that grows in strange soil. Maybe it's some form of Stockholm syndrome, the mind's way of surviving captivity by rewriting it as choice. The game never says. It lives in that gray area, uncomfortable and unresolved, like a question you're not sure you want answered. When the time comes to return Patricia to her husband, because Martin Madrazo has a lot of guns and not a lot of patience, Trevor cries. Full tears, shoulders shaking. This man, this absolute human wrecking ball, who has committed acts so vile the game itself seems embarrassed by some of them, stands in the desert sun with sand blowing across his boots and weeps, because he has to give back the woman he stole. I'm not being dramatic. That might be the most unexpectedly moving moment in the entire GTA series. And it tells you something awful about Trevor. He's capable of love. He has it in him. The wiring is all there. Every circuit, every connection. But it's so twisted, so damaged, so tangled up with violence and impulse and destruction that it only comes out in the most broken possible way. He can love. He just can't do it without also committing a felony first. Trevor also becomes the owner of the vanilla unicorn during the game through a hostile takeover that is exactly as violent and unhinged as it sounds. He acquires the strip club as a business property, the most chaotic, unpredictable person in all of Los Santos. Now runs a place built entirely on controlled, predictable, transactional intimacy. A place where everything is choreographed, where nothing is spontaneous, where every smile has a price tag. The irony is so thick you could choke on it. Franklin Clinton is the youngest of the three, and his love life is defined by a single, aching absence that colors everything else gray. His ex-girlfriend is Tanisha Jackson. She left him, not dramatically, not violently, not with a door slam and a shouting match, just clearly, cleanly. She looked at Franklin and saw a dead end, not because he was stupid. The opposite. He was smart, capable, talented, full of potential. And he was choosing the streets anyway, choosing the easy money and the dangerous friends and the lifestyle that ends in prison or a coffin. Tanisha wanted a doctor, a house with a yard, a life that didn't require checking the mirrors every time she started the car. So she walked away, didn't look back, married someone else, someone safe. Franklin respects her for it. That's the worst part. He doesn't hate Tanisha, doesn't trash talk her, doesn't pretend she didn't matter. He understands her completely. He knows she was right. And that understanding sits in him like a splinter just under the skin. Constant, small, impossible to reach, impossible to ignore. Franklin can visit strip clubs. He can call women for hookups through his phone. He can pick up sex workers and go through the familiar, mechanical, joyless routine. But none of it touches him. None of it fills the Tanisha-shaped space. He's the protagonist with the most potential and the least connection. Moving through Los Santos like a ghost, driving an expensive car, through streets full of people he'll never know. GTA 5's broader world leaned harder into adult content than any previous game. And it did so with a level of detail that made everything feel uncomfortably real in a way the earlier games never managed. The Vanilla Unicorn wasn't just a strip club. It was a fully realized place with its own atmosphere, its own cast of regulars and employees, and unspoken rules. Named dancers worked the floor, each with her own look, her own personality, her own conversational style. Players could request private dances in the back, where the lighting dropped to a dim purple haze, and the music softened to something slower, and a dancer would perform, while a like meter filled up on screen. Keep the meter climbing, keep spending, keep paying attention, keep pushing the right buttons. And eventually, the dancer would give you her number. You could call her later, invite her over. The whole system was designed to simulate the slow, transactional process of manufactured intimacy. And it worked almost too well. You'd catch yourself investing time and attention into a fictional stripper's approval meter, and then pause and think about what that said about the nature of desire and digital connection and loneliness in the 21st century, or you just move on to the next mission. Either way, the prostitution mechanics got more detailed too. 3 tiers of service, each at a different price point, each with different animations. The women stood on specific corners in specific neighborhoods, under flickering streetlights in the industrial district, along the neon-lit strips near the cheap motels, on the quieter residential roads where the only witnesses were parked cars and stray cats. The transaction was the same as always. Pull up. They lean in the window. They get in. You drive somewhere dark. But something about GTA 5's world made it heavier. The women looked more real. The neighborhoods felt more lived in. The silence afterward, when the woman got out of the car and walked back to her corner, and you sat there alone in the driver's seat, felt longer. And then the first-person mode arrived with the enhanced edition, and everything shifted. Suddenly, you weren't watching this happen from above, from a comfortable third-person distance, where everything looked like a movie. You were in it. The dashboard in front of you, the steering wheel under your hands, the woman in the passenger seat, close enough to hear her breathe, the car rocking from your perspective, filling your field of vision. It was the same mechanic that had existed since GTA 3. But the camera angle turned a cartoon into a confession. The distance was gone. The buffer was gone. You were there. Rockstar never commented on whether this was intentional commentary or just a side effect of adding first-person mode. But the result was undeniable. The exact same actions that felt throwaway in third person felt weighted and real in first. The game didn't change what it let you do. It changed how close it made you stand while doing it. And that closeness was a mirror. Not everyone liked what they saw. Beyond the strip clubs and the street corners, GTA 5 also wove sex work and exploitation into its actual mission structure in ways the earlier games had only hinted at. Trevor's takeover of the vanilla unicorn wasn't just a gameplay event. It was a hostile, violent acquisition that left blood on the floor and a dead body behind the bar. The previous owner was murdered. The dancers barely blinked. Business continued. It said something bleak about how normalized exploitation becomes when enough money is involved. And the pimps. GTA has always had pimps in its world. Background characters, mission givers, voices on the other end of a phone call. But they were never glamorized. In San Andreas, several missions involved rescuing women from exploitative situations, pulling them out of bad places controlled by worse people. In GTA 4, the Pegorino crime family ran prostitution rings that Niko could dismantle, shutting down operations that treated human beings as inventory. The game showed you the machinery of exploitation and let you break it apart, which was about as close to a moral statement as GTA ever got. GTA 5 continued this thread with its own dark corners. The seedy motels of Blaine County, the whispered references to human trafficking, the strip club as a business that Michael visits for emptiness and Trevor owns through violence. None of it was presented as aspirational. None of it was fun in the way a car chase is fun or a heist is fun. It was just there, part of the world, ugly and real and impossible to ignore. Then GTA Online exploded into its own separate universe. Nightclubs became full businesses with real overhead and real revenue and real management headaches. Real-world DJs played on virtual stages. Solomon spinning deep house tracks in a digital club, while actual humans in actual living rooms danced with their actual controllers. Dressed in virtual outfits they'd spent virtual money on. Players didn't just visit these nightclubs for missions or cash. They went to exist, to be seen, to stand in virtual VIP sections with virtual bottle service and feel like they were part of something, even if that something only lived on a server rack in a data center in California. The nightclub culture of GTA Online became, accidentally, a commentary on the real thing. People going to a place not for what it offers, but for how it makes them feel. The illusion of belonging, the performance of having a good time. Real clubs sell the same product. GTA Online just stripped away the pretense, replaced the cover charge with virtual currency, and proved that people will pay for the feeling of being somewhere, even when somewhere isn't real. Okay, take a breath with me here, because we're about to step into the future. And the future of GTA relationships is the most exciting, most uncertain, most dangerous, but the series has ever placed. Let's talk about GTA 6. Quick ground rules before we go further. Some of what I'm about to say is confirmed by Rockstar. Official trailers, official statements, hard facts. The rest is speculation, fan theories, leaks that may or may not be garbage, educated guesses stitched together from patterns and precedent. I'll tell you which is which. You decide what to believe. So what do we actually know? GTA 6 has 2 playable protagonists. Their names are Lucia and Jason. They are a couple, romantic partners, criminal partners, the whole package. Together, in love, and the story follows them through the state of Leonida, a fictional version of Florida, anchored by a modern reimagining of Vice City, which is basically Miami, with the volume turned all the way up. Neon, heat, Latin music drifting out of open car windows, ocean air and sunburn, and the hum of an engine on a coastal highway at midnight. That has never happened before. Not once in 25 years, across a dozen games. Every single GTA protagonist has been alone at the start of the story. Single, divorced, betrayed, abandoned, shot in the face by the person they trusted most. The default emotional state of a GTA hero has always been isolation. The relationship was something you built or found or chased or failed to hold on to over the course of the game. It was never where you started. It was never the given. Lucia and Jason start together. That's the earthquake. That's the thing that flips the table. The trailers hint at a story that's equal parts crime thriller and love story. There's a warmth between Lucia and Jason that GTA has never shown before. Not between any two characters, ever. They laugh together, not at someone with each other. They look at each other with a recognition that feels earned, like they've already been through something hard and survived it, and came out on the other side still holding hands. They rob stores with the synchronization of people who trust each other absolutely, who know the other person's timing like they know their own heartbeat. They run from cops with the desperate joy of people who know that what they're doing is insane and don't care because they're doing it together, and together is the only thing that matters. It feels like Bonnie and Clyde. It feels like love on a deadline. It feels like a flame that's burning gorgeous and bright and maybe too hot to last. Which terrifies me, because Rockstar didn't give us these characters to make us comfortable. They gave them to us so we'd care. And in GTA, caring is the most dangerous thing you can do. Ask Niko, ask Kate, ask Claude. This is where we cross into speculation. The question every GTA fan has been asking since the first trailer dropped. Will there be a dating system? Nobody knows. Rockstar hasn't said, but we can think through the possibilities, and every single one of them is wild. The problem with a traditional dating system, the San Andreas model, where you can just date whoever you want, whenever you want, as many people as you want, is that it would blow up the entire premise. Lucia and Jason are together. They're the central couple. They're the heart of the story. If you can play as Lucia and take some random man to a seafood restaurant on the beach, while Jason sits at the safe house watching TV, it breaks everything. It turns the love story into a joke. It says their relationship doesn't matter enough to be exclusive. It says love is a side activity, the way it's always been. Rockstar is too smart for that. Whatever they do, it'll be sharper than a simple dating menu. One theory, and this is one of the more popular ones floating around fan communities and speculation channels, is that GTA 6 will have a relationship health system between Lucia and Jason themselves. Not a dating meter for side characters, a dynamic trust system between the two, leads that fluctuates based on everything you do in the game. Every decision has a ripple. Who takes the bigger risk during a heist? Who gets a bigger share of the money? When things go wrong, who gets blamed? If one of them wants to quit the criminal life and settle down, and the other wants to keep going, what happens to the space between them? Does it grow? Does it harden? Does it become a crack that eventually splits them apart? Imagine a trust meter that lives and breathes throughout the entire game. Let it climb, and Lucia and Jason are unstoppable, laughing, flirting, finishing each other's sentences during cutscenes, pulling off jobs with the elegance of a choreographed dance. You can feel the chemistry. You can feel the safety of being with someone who gets you. Let it drop, and the tension becomes unbearable. Cold silences in the car between missions, arguments that escalate too fast and end too abruptly. Jobs where they make mistakes because they're not communicating, because the thing between them is rotting and neither of them wants to look at it directly. If Rockstar built an entire game around the living, breathing, breakable relationship between two people, if every mission, every choice, every quiet moment between explosions fed into whether this couple survives, it would be unlike anything the series has ever attempted, unlike anything any open-world game has attempted. It would make every choice feel personal in a way that goes way beyond. Do I use the assault rifle or the shotgun? It would be about whether love can survive the worst conditions a world can throw at it, whether two people can keep choosing each other when everything around them is designed to tear them apart. Then there's the breakup theory. This one has been bouncing around fan forums and speculation channels for months, picking up believers the way a snowball picks up weight rolling downhill. And it has a certain narrative logic that's hard to dismiss once you hear it. The theory goes like this: Lucia and Jason won't make it to the end together. Something will happen, a betrayal, a forced separation, a deal gone so catastrophically wrong that there's no coming back from it. That tears them apart. And some fans believe this won't happen at the end of the game, the way you might expect. They think it'll happen in the middle, right in the center, the hinge point, the moment the whole story pivots. If that's true, the structure of GTA 6 would be something we've never seen in the series.
We're going to
The first half is a love story. Lucia and Jason against the world, building an empire together, robbing and running and laughing and fighting, and learning to trust each other in a world that punishes trust. The second half is a breakup story. Both characters now alone, each carrying half of something that used to be whole, navigating the wreckage of what they had, possibly working against each other. Former lovers on opposite sides. And in that second half, maybe dating opens up. Maybe the relationship system expands. Maybe both Lucia and Jason can pursue other people, process their heartbreak in different ways. One, finding temporary comfort in someone new. The other closing off completely. The central wound of their breakup bleeding through every mission and every conversation, and every time they pass each other on the street and pretend not to look. It would mirror GTA 3. Catalina betrayed Claude at the beginning. What if GTA 6 puts the betrayal at the center? What if the first half of the game teaches you to love, and the second half teaches you what it costs to lose it? That's speculation. Pure, unconfirmed, fan-driven speculation based on vibes and narrative pattern recognition. And too many late nights reading forums. But it's the kind of theory that keeps you staring at the ceiling at 2 in the morning when you should be sleeping. This doesn't get talked about enough. Lucia is the first playable female protagonist in mainline GTA history. That single fact rewires the entire equation of relationships, hookups, nightlife, and adult content. Everything changes. All of it. Every GTA game before this has shown relationships from a man's perspective. The player was always the man approaching the woman, the man buying the dinner, the man driving to the strip club, the man picking up the sex worker on the corner at midnight. The camera, metaphorically and literally, always belonged to the male gaze. Always. Now the camera belongs to Lucia too, and the questions that raises are enormous. How will the game handle male NPCs approaching Lucia? Will she get catcalled walking down a street in Little Havana? Will men at bars try to buy her drinks she didn't ask for? Will someone follow her too closely on a dark sidewalk? And will you feel the hair on the back of your neck stand up the way it does in real life? And if any of these things happen, will the player have control over how Lucia responds? Can she ignore it, confront it, laugh it off, walk away, fight? The answers to these questions will define how GTA 6 lands. Get it right, and Rockstar builds a female protagonist who feels like a real person walking through the same messy, uncomfortable, gendered world we already know. Get it wrong, and the backlash will be like nothing gaming has ever seen. Then there's the strip club question. Come on, a GTA game set in Vice City without strip clubs is like a racing game without cars. It's not happening. The neon-lit clubs will be there, probably bigger and more detailed and more alive than ever before. But who visits them? When Jason walks into a strip club, we're on familiar ground. We've been doing this since Vice City. We know the mechanics, the atmosphere, The slightly grimy feeling of spending virtual money in a virtual back room, while virtual music plays and virtual lights pulse. When Lucia walks into a strip club, everything is new. Is she a customer? Is she there for a mission? Is she uncomfortable, empowered, bored, amused? Does the game play it straight? Or does it use the moment to say something about gender and gaze and the commercialization of desire? Do the dancers react differently to her? Do the other customers? There's no precedent for this. Rockstar is in completely uncharted water. And uncharted water is where the most interesting things happen, or where you drown. Sex work. This is the big one. Picking up prostitutes has been a GTA mechanic since the third game. It's always been the same basic loop. Pull up, they get in, the car rocks, health goes up. Simple, mechanical, anonymous. The women never had names, never had dialogue beyond a line or two, never had any identity beyond the one standing on the corner. Some leakers have suggested GTA 6 will handle this differently, that sex workers might have names, dialogue, even small storylines, that they might be people instead of vending machines with heels. Given the game's more grounded, more narrative-driven, more emotionally serious tone, this would make sense. It would also be a massive departure from 20-plus years of tradition. And tradition in GTA is heavy. Throw Lucia into that equation, and it gets messier. Will Jason pick up sex workers while in a relationship with Lucia? Will that affect their trust meter? Will Lucia even have the option? Will the game deal with the complicated power dynamics of sex work in a way previous titles never bothered to? We don't know, but the conversation is already happening in forums and comment sections and Discord servers and Reddit threads. And that means GTA 6 has already changed things before a single copy has been sold. Side characters. Even if GTA 6 doesn't have a traditional dating system, it will almost certainly have NPCs who create romantic tension and emotional conflict. That's just good storytelling. Imagine a charismatic arms dealer who takes a shine to Lucia. He's smooth. He's funny. He's got connections that could change their operation overnight. He stands a little too close when he talks to her, and Jason sees it. And Jason can't say anything because they need this guy's guns. So he just has to smile and shake his hand and pretend the jealousy isn't eating him alive from the inside out. Or imagine an old flame of Jason's who shows up in Vice City, a woman from before Lucia, beautiful, nostalgic, carrying memories of a version of Jason that Lucia never knew. She doesn't have to be datable. She doesn't need a relationship meter or a side quest or a single gameplay mechanic attached to her. She just has to exist. Her presence alone, a smile in a crowded room, a name on a phone screen, is enough to crack the foundation. These characters, the temptations, the rivals, the ghosts from the past, are the bread and butter of drama. You don't need a dating sim to create relationship conflict. You just need someone to stand a little too close and let the tension do the rest. The rest does itself. GTA Online is its own entire universe of possibilities. GTA Online already has nightclubs, penthouse parties, and a social world that millions of players inhabit like a second life. Or maybe a more honest first life, one where the consequences are lower and the outfits are better. GTA 6's online mode could expand this dramatically. Think about what Vice City means for nightlife. Miami is one of the nightclub capitals of the world. The real city's club scene is legendary. Massive venues on the waterfront with lines that wrap around the block. Rooftop bars where you can see the ocean. Underground spots in Wynwood where the music doesn't stop until the sun is fully up and the DJ's shirt is soaked through and nobody cares what time it is. GTA 6's version of that could be enormous. Multi-floor clubs with different music on each level. Beach parties that start at sunset and end at dawn. Latin clubs where the salsa and reggaeton shakes the walls. And the dance floor is so packed you can feel the person next to you breathing. Pool parties at waterfront mansions with champagne and corruption. And the warm chlorine smell of too much money and not enough conscience. And within those spaces, social interaction. Not just NPCs, real players, forming alliances, starting rivalries, meeting someone at a bar and game, and deciding to run a heist together, or deciding to run something else entirely. Player-to-player dating, business partnerships that blur into personal ones, in-game weddings, something the community has been requesting for years. Imagine throwing a massive party at your nightclub, real players showing up, music thumping through the speakers, and two avatars exchanging vows on a rooftop, while a digital Vice City sunset paints everything gold and pink. It's ridiculous. It's strangely beautiful. It's exactly the kind of story that only happens in online worlds, where millions of strangers share the same map. One more piece of speculation, and then we'll bring the whole thing together. GTA 5's Trevor had an undefined, ambiguous sexuality that Rockstar never tried to explain or resolve. He just was who he was. Nobody put a label on it. The game respected the ambiguity. GTA 6 is set in a modern, vibrant, diverse version of Miami. A city with one of the most prominent LGBTQ+ communities in the country. Rainbow flags on Ocean Drive. Drag culture that goes back decades. A nightlife scene that has always celebrated every flavor of identity. Ignoring that would be weird, almost suspicious, whether it means playable queer storylines, openly LGBTQ+ NPCs, or just a world that looks and feels like the city it's based on. The expectation is there. Nothing has been confirmed, but the cultural moment is obvious. And Rockstar has always been a studio that mirrors real life, even especially the parts that make people uncomfortable. Okay, let's bring this home. We've traveled 25 years. We've met every girlfriend, every wife, every hookup, every heartbreak in GTA history. sat in strip clubs and nightclubs and desert diners. We watched a silent man tear a city apart for revenge, a charming man juggle 6 women and connect with none of them, a broken man get betrayed by the first person he trusted. We watched a rich man realize his marriage was a beautiful prison, a violent man weep over a woman he kidnapped, a young man get left behind by the only woman who believed he could be better. And now we're watching 2 people who already have what everyone else was looking for. Here's the pattern. Every GTA game has been telling the same story, just in a different key. GTA 3 said love is a weapon. Vice City said love is a mirage. San Andreas said love is a numbers game. GTA 4 said love is a vulnerability. GTA 5 said love is a ruin. GTA 6 says love is the beginning, not the side quest, not the minigame, not the thing you find between missions when you've got nothing better to do. The thing that drives every mission, the reason for everything.
Jacob, what are you talking about?
Rockstar has been building to this for a quarter century.
Hey,
Every
Niko.
betrayal, every failed
Jason.
marriage, every awkward bowling date
This
with
is
your
not the
cousin,
place for you, Michelle.
every crying
happened to
session
this.
in a desert trailer
You see,
with a kidnapped
Niko,
woman
I have been
and a man
working for the
who doesn't
government.
understand his own
I'm
heart.
afraid it's my job
All
to
of
watch
it
you.
was character
And
development,
now I have to
not
ask
for
you
one
for
protagonist,
This is a joke.
for the series
right?
itself.
Please don't make this harder for
GTA
me than
grew
it already
up.
is.
It went from treating
Look,
women
they're
as
about to
set
take down
dressing
Elizabeta.
to creating a woman
I don't
as
fucking
co-lead.
believe this.
Silent,
Listen,
interchangeable
I'm
girlfriends
sorry
gave
I
way
had
to a
leave this way, Niko.
relationship
I'm really sorry.
that might be the emotional core
Hey,
of the biggest
you know,
game
you could
ever
have gone
made.
down too if you weren't so
Love
risky.
stopped being a punchline.
You fucking
It became the
bitch.
whole story. The question that hangs over GTA 6, the one that makes fans stay up late scrolling through theories and breakdowns
My employers need the help
and
of a
leaked
guy
footage,
like Niko.
is simple,
The
enormous,
office is in Algonquin.
both at once.
I'll call you.
Can Lucia and
You know,
Jason
as and when
survive?
we need you.
Can 2 people who live by stealing
Code,
and running
please.
and fighting hold onto each other when the whole world is trying to pull them apart? Can love exist, really exist, not as a meter or a mechanic or a perk, but as the actual beating heart of the story, in a game that has spent 25 years proving that it can't? Every GTA protagonist before them would say no. Claude would shake his head. CJ would shrug. Niko would light a cigarette and look away. Michael would pour another drink. Trevor would smash something. Franklin would go for a drive alone. But Lucia and Jason are different. They have to be different, because if they're not, if this story ends the same way all the others did, with a bullet or a betrayal or a lonely man standing in the rain, then GTA has nothing new to say, and Rockstar always has something new to say. So maybe this time, love gets to win. Maybe 2 people get to be criminals and still be in love. Maybe the curse that's been hanging over this series since Catalina pulled that trigger in a bank vault in 2001 finally breaks. Or maybe it doesn't. Maybe the bullet catches up. It always has before. I guess we'll find out. But either way, whether Lucia and Jason ride off into a Florida sunset together or tear each other apart on the neon-soaked streets of Vice City will feel it. Because Rockstar has spent 25 years teaching us how to care about people made of pixels and code and voice acting. And somebody's idea of what love looks like when the world is on fire. And now they've given us something worth caring about. That's every girlfriend in GTA history. Every love story, every strip club, every scandal, every heartbreak, every hope. From a bullet in a bank vault to two people running hand in hand toward a future that might destroy them. Thanks for sticking with me through this. If it made you think about these games differently, if it made you see the love stories hiding inside the chaos, then hit that like button. Subscribe if you want more like this, the kind of stuff your favorite games are trying to tell you when you're not looking. And drop me a comment. I want to know, who's your favorite GTA girlfriend of all time? And more importantly, do you think Lucia and Jason are going to make it? I'll see you in Vice City.